think the idea of bringing teams together and making them work more collaboratively and accept that it's a team, that part it works best. It's interesting because I think probably the most challenging one is the one that is still ongoing right now. 30 Hudson Yards, which is it's about 1,300 feet, but it's where it's located and the complexity of the site and all of the things that need to go in to make that building actually function and work. It sits over the Long Island Rail Yards in New York City on the west side. And because of the fact that the tracks are coming in together, all coming together into a tunnel, there are really very, very few places where you can actually get any foundations or get columns down. So we have columns that slope and slink around and move everywhere in the building. And that's okay in a smaller building, but it tends to soften the building in terms of its performance structurally and the interrelationships of everything from the structure, but also the infrastructure that you need to create a space underneath that has air and fire safety for the trains in there. All of those things together just make it very, very complex. So I didn't always want to work on tall buildings. I was interested in structure to start with, but I soon, when I worked in London, my first job was actually working on projects in Hong Kong, and I got the bug. Once I came to New York, I really found that New York, it just inspired me to want to work on more and more of those buildings. And I enjoyed the collaboration with developers. I like to make the building be the best building, not necessarily the best structure. If I can do that, I think I've done something good for the project and for the owner and hopefully for the architect too. I think the idea of bringing teams together and making them work more collaboratively and accept that it's a team, that part it works best. It's certainly the most successful jobs I've had have been that kind of a model. And also the projects you feel best about. You go home feeling good about it because you're working together with everybody to produce a good building. You know that it gets to the right answers as easily and as quickly as possible. And you know that essentially you'll end up with less angst on everybody's part, and everybody feels like they can get the solution that they're looking for. I think we need to work, I think as a whole industry, we should be working on the pipeline piece. They say that girls in middle school is when they get turned off STEM. There's a group called the Salvadori Center. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they develop programs for middle school kids. And I went and watched a class being taught one day, and to see, 10-year-old little girl in a pink frilly dress, jumping up and down with excitement, trying to answer a question about structures. So that's important. But I think we first need to create role models for those young kids. So we need to make sure that we recognize young women who are doing good jobs in this field. If we see people who are excelling, we need to recognize them. Make sure that as you make strides and you gain in seniority in your career, that you keep an eye on the women who are coming behind you and advocate for them. Women don't always advocate very well for themselves. So they say that that's an important aspect of how you get ahead. And if you don't feel like you're getting ahead, some women will lose interest and quit because they're not being recognized. So it's a delicate balance, but I think I would say keep an eye on the other women who are with you and advocate on their behalf. Be sponsors, be mentors, and do that.